Hi, my name is Tess, and today we're going to be grooming Eleanor the Miniature Schnauzer in an Asian fusion style trim. I have already bathed her and force dried her, so we're going to start with fluffing her out so that we can get her coat perfectly prepped for the haircut. I'm going to start by spraying her down with some anti-static and fluffing out all of her legs. I am using this very small Artero slicker brush. I really like this brush specifically because it is super tiny, so I am able to fluff out the tiny dogs really well and get into all the crevices and also do the face with it. Eleanor is a miniature schnauzer. She is part of the terrier group, so typically schnauzers would be hand stripped. She does have a rougher coat up here, and her legs are a nice soft fluffy coat. Since she has always been clippered, her entire coat is pretty soft at the moment, so we will be doing an Asian fusion inspired trim. However, we will still be using a terrier pattern on the legs and the front. Fluffing out the dog completely is super important to getting a nice finish at the end of your haircut, no matter what kind of dog it is. Now I'm going to comb her out and make sure that there are no knots or anything left in the coat before I start my trim. Very important for prep work, I'm going to start by dremeling all of her nails. For the nails, I like to go on the opposite side of the nails that I'm doing, especially if I'm doing the front foot, because now I can create like a little cocoon of safety here for the dog, and they can lean against me if they're feeling nervous. I lift the foot straight forward, and I round off all the tips of their nails. Now I'm going to use a clipper on a 40 setting to do her little paw pads. I am going to go by going in every direction, top, bottom, side to side. The hair down here goes in every direction. A 40 setting to do the kiss on her lips. This will go right in between her little nostrils. It'll leave a little kiss. And now we're going to go in to trim the buttholes. There, perfect. Now I'm moving my clipper to a 10 setting, and I'm going to go ahead and take care of her fupa. I will also be using it on the 10 setting to go from the butthole to the coochie.
So the taint.
What is the official term? What would Pino say?
Taint.
The gooch? Is it the taint? Now I'm going to get the part between her starfish and her lady bits with a 10. I will also use the 10 setting to do the inner thighs. So now I'm going to use my cordless clipper, and I am actually using a 5 wide blade, and this is the only blade that I'm going to end up using for the rest of the body. So this is a super easy trim since you literally only need the 1 number blade. I'm going to be clipping the entire body, similarly to a schnauzer trim, but we will not be leaving a fringe or underline at all. When I'm going down the back leg, I try to use the clipper to blend my lines seamlessly from the get-go. I'm leaving her this cute little bunny tail, and I'm going to do that by shaving in a little V section here at the croup. I'm going to take the clipper right down the back of the thigh and slide it off at the hock. Again, you want to make sure that you take your 5 all the way under, and there is no underline for this trim. So I'm going to use that same 5 blade, and I'm going to take it all down the throat and the front and the entire chin.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, what have I done? No, I'm just kidding. It's gonna look really good later. I'm gonna use the same 5 here on the sides of the cheeks. And I'm just making sure that that jaw is really cleaned out. We don't need any of this. Now she has a handlebar mustache. You don't have to leave a crest for this trim either. You can go ahead and take it right from the back of the head. Since I want a very exaggerated, flared out leg, I went ahead and pinched it here at the armpit and elbow. Who's that girl? It's Eleanor. Now that I'm done with the clippering, as is customary, we're gonna take a break and I'm gonna eat all of this hair. God, you scared me. So thankfully, because of the way we did the clipper work, by using that 5 blade to blend in the leg, there really isn't a lot of blending that we have to do, and the line between the short clippered work and the big fluffy legs is already seamless. So I'm gonna start by trimming the foot. I'm going to pick up the foot after combing it out and use my straight shear and line it up here against the paw pad. To set the hawk. That way, when her foot is on the floor, there's no hair from the back that will be dragging. Then I will take my curved shears and I'm going to set the front of the foot by trimming it right up against the toenails. So you can see here, you can literally see the bottom of her little paw pads. So we see that the front of the foot and also the back of the foot don't have any hair that's going to touch the floor. From here, I take my straights and I pick up the foot just to line up the front of the toes to the back. And I will clean up the finish work with thinners once we're done. So I personally kind of like the way that the hair in the back of the hawk is long and kind of stylized. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that shape and just exaggerate it a little bit with my straights. Now I'm going to trim all of this coat here on the front of the rear legs. You can tell where the knee is by picking up the foot, looking here, grab any of those sticky outies, set the foot back down. And then I'm going to go from the knee to the foot. And I specifically don't want to make an obvious foot, so I'm going to leave it like this. Now that I'm satisfied with how the side profile of this leg is, I'm going to take a look at it from the back. I'm going to comb out the back legs. Shake it to see where it falls. I like it. Okay, so now I'm satisfied with how this leg has come out. Now I'm going to take my thinning shears so that I can clean up all of the little hairs between her tuck up and her armpit. Careful you don't chop off any of her little mommy milkers. Just kidding, she's a child. Wow. For her front feet, I want her to look like she's on her tiptoes like a little ballerina. So I'm going to pick up her foot and do the same thing that I had done on the back feet by setting my straight shears flush against the paw pad and chopping off all of this hair from here. The highest point that I want to cut off is right below this little pad right here. Now, if you look from the side, we are now starting to get our little ballerina shape here in the back. I'll repeat this same process of setting the front of the foot by trimming right up against the front toenails. We got our back foot, we got our front foot set, and now we're going to connect them both. I'm going to use my thinning shears. However, if you have an abundance of confidence, go ahead and use a straight shear. Okay, so now that I have picked up all of the hair off of the floor, I'm going to go ahead and shape the entire leg and connect it to my foot. Some people don't pick up the foot when they're doing this, but I say, live your life. Peanut would never lift a foot off of the table. I'm just checking that I have trimmed all the hair that would come over the paw pad, and since I had not, I combed it over the paw pad, and now I'm just gonna thin it away. I'm going to come from the front and I pick up the opposite foot so that now I can trim here on the inside of this leg. All right, now that we're done with the rest of the scissor work on the body, I'm going to go ahead and trim the tail. The hair on this tail has been growing out for about 1.5 years, the same with the hair on her ears. I want to make a little V, just like I trimmed, and I want to take that down the edges of the tail. Then I'm going to pick up the tail and get rid of these hairs that are actually not part of the tail at all and that I just completely missed clipping from the body. So I will lastly be combing out the tail, and again, this is a totally just invented hairstyle, which is what all Asian fusion is. You can pretty much do whatever you want. There are no rules. So I like the tail to kind of be in a little bit of a diamond shape. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to check what it looks like when she wags it. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. To fluff her face, I'm going to start off by prepping it with a little bit of volume mousse from Artero. It's called Zoom. I always like to think of, Bugs Bunny giving Elmer Fudd a head massage. Look at her little teeth. I'm going to cover her little eyes and do a little spray. Instead of holding her by the chin hair, I'm going to hold her entire head in my hand so that she isn't moving around a lot while I am blow drying her face. This is also more comfortable for her than me holding on to one chin hair. Now that this is done, I'm actually going to spray my comb with some doggy hairspray. This is Podium from Artero. This hairspray is not super strong, so it will not stain her coat and not her face. Do not use a stronger hairspray if you are not going to wash the dog after. Well, I do believe that is the cutest mustache I ever did see. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the hair that's right in between her eyes that is currently covering her vision. I am not going to dig into it. I am just going to trim it straight across. Next, I'm going to lift the hair from where would have been her would-be eyebrow, and I'm going to trim the little hairs that are coming up right here on the inner corner of the eye. I'm going to be very careful not to trim off her little eyelashes by holding them back with my finger. Now she can see again. So cute. I'm going to take a straight or a curved shear, and I'm going to trim off from the edge of my kiss all of these little handlebar mustache pieces. And that is the official term for that, scientifically. And while we're at it, I think that we should just do something crazy and just cut off the whole mustache like that. Wow, let's go ahead and cut that off of the other side as well. For me, it's easier to come on the other side from back to front, but however you feel most comfortable, to just trim off the handlebar part of the stash. And it's okay if it doesn't look cute now, because it will look cute later. I'm going to use a fine-tooth Utsumi comb to comb this out and use my thinning shears to create a soft finish and get rid of all those crazy jagged edges that we made. I always want to trim when I'm looking at the dog from the front upwards into a smile. If I were to trim the downwards way this way, it would be a sad face. And if I trim the upwards way, it would be a happy face. And we want to be happy face. Combing up and cutting the hair on the face until you get a nice, round, smooth finish that you're happy with. I think that if there's one place that you're going to nitpick and spend a long time trimming on one of your client dogs would be the face, because that is where all of the expression is held, and that's what owners are looking into. They're looking at the dog's face, their expression, their eyes, so you want that to be perfect, if nothing else. I'm going to get rid of these would-be eyebrows that are blocking the view of her gorgeous, beautiful eyelashes. So I'm going to take my thumb and hold the eyelash down here over her little eyeball and comb the little hairs forward. And I'm gonna cut them off. Wow, now you can really see her adorable eyelashes that are 100% not too long at all. I'm going to comb this out to the sides, and I want to bring the sides of the head shorter and make a definition between her little butterfly ears and her actual head. Oh my God, just kill me. Look. So cute. Okay, so now that she's looking really stinking cute, I want to get even more definition between the ears and now the top of the head. So I'm thinking I'm going to bring this down a little bit because I want the ears to just pop off from the top of the head. I'm also going to turn her head from the side, and if you see all of this mumbo jumbo back here, I'm just going to blend the mumbo jumbo into the top of the head. and I'm gonna go ahead and eyeball it until it is at maximum cuteness. That's really what's important here. I like that length. I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure that everything is cleaned up and that there are no random length or anything that looks out of place on the back of her head. And I'm gonna ask her to please stand. Madam? Okay, so our goal is actually to have her ears eventually just grow really, really, really long. So I am not going to trim anything off of her ears except for just the little fuzzy wuzzies that are at the end. Okay, so we set the base of our head by taking the same 5 that we used on the body under the entire chin and the whole entire jaw. From there, we created our kiss with the 40. We trimmed all of the little mustache hairs that came below the kiss, combed everything up, and made a little contact lens shaped mustache for her. We trimmed from the inner corners of the eyes straight across to make sure that we wouldn't get a sad expression and instead a happy, cute one. We were sure to keep her beautiful long eyelashes by trimming back what would have been a Schnauzer's natural eyebrow hairs. We took the cheeks nice and short and trimmed up the top of the head to make sure that we had a very striking difference between her head and her beautiful fluffy ears. Oh, thank you, Ellie. I love you. And there you have it. That is how I groom literally the cutest dog in the entire world. I'm Tess, this is Eleanor, and this is Groom House, bitch.